Okay, so I'm Brent Jacobsen. I'm the CEO of GuestNetix, and today I'm going to be talking about how to improve the guest experience through mobile technology. And specifically, we're going to focus on NFC, QR codes, and SMS. Today's agenda, I'm going to go through the guest experience really quick, and they only give me 15 minutes, so I'm going to crank through really fast, but if you have questions, feel free to come up after, and I'm happy to spend as much time with you as you'd like. Okay, so we're going to jump through the mobile technologies, so QR codes, NFC, and SMS, specifically what the technologies are, how to use them. Then I'll jump into some case studies, how they're being used by some of your competitors potentially in other industries, and some creative ways to use them. And then I'm going to get into some future tech if there's time. So why does the guest experience matter? Okay, and why more today than yesterday, than last year, than the year before? There's a bunch of reasons. Guests have more choices than ever. There's more than 50,000 hotel properties in the US and almost 5 million rooms. Guests have more information than ever. Okay? Guests spend more time reading online travel reviews than any other product or service. They're also more demanding than ever. Okay? 90% of guests will not return if they have a bad experience. And this is across the board. Customers, if they're not happy the first time, they pretty much give you one chance. If you don't solve it before they leave the property, they're not coming back. They're more connected than ever. Last year, at the end of the year, over 50%, that's when we crossed the threshold, over 50% of consumers that are adults in the US have a smartphone. We're always connected to the internet, okay? And the other interesting trend here is this yellow line. Last year, we also crossed the threshold where less than 10% of people don't have a mobile phone. And this is true internationally and globally as well. 6 billion people in the world have mobile phones, okay? The interesting fact here, 80% of the developing world has a mobile phone. So it doesn't matter where you're located, people have mobile phones. Guests are connected. So what's the secret formula? How do you win in this connected world we're in? I'm going to give it to you, so you guys are lucky. You're a select group here. Okay, satisfy, engage, and delight. Okay, satisfaction is the bare minimum. When I show up to your hotel property, I better have a clean room, better have a comfortable bed, I better have shampoo in the bathroom, and I better have free Wi-Fi. Okay, that's the basics. So how do we engage and delight? And that's what I want to talk about, is the mobile technologies you can use to engage and delight your guests. Okay, QR codes. By raise of hand, who knows what a QR code is? Okay, cool. So you guys are slightly higher than average. This is a QR code, in case you don't know what they are. You've probably seen them around the show quite a bit. Now, on average, 50% of consumers know what a QR code is. Okay. The interesting thing and the kind of sad thing is that only 28% of people have actually ever used one. Of you here, who has actually used a QR code? Okay, and we're obviously higher because we're at a technology conference, so we're going to skew much higher than the average population. These are the different QR codes you can use. There's about 5 different things you can do with a QR code. Okay, the most popular one, the one you guys are probably familiar with, is this one here on the left. Typically, it's used to redirect you to a website. Okay, and you can include tracking links, include all sorts of information. Really, it's a portal from the offline world to the online mobile world. That's what makes this special. Okay, there's some other interesting things that can be done. This is a very basic QR code. This is simply the replacement for what's used to be barcodes, UPC codes. Just more enhanced, more data can be stored in this format. These 2 middle ones you may not be familiar with. They're pretty cool. You can scan it, and basically it pre-populates the information for a text or for a phone call. So you scan that, it pre-populates a text, and you just hit send to make the phone call or send the text. The one on the right is one you may also be familiar with. Many people have these on their business cards. So you can scan it and import their contact information directly into your phone. You know, their name, phone number, company, website, a bunch of information. Really cool thing about QR codes is they have the ability to lose about 30% of their fidelity and still be readable. So you can do some fun things with them. You'll notice on this one, as long as you have these 3 corner pieces in place so the reader can calibrate to read the QR code, you can round the corners, you can change the color, you can add images and logos. You can lose about 30% depending on how you're using the QR code, and it is still readable. Okay. NFC. Who's familiar with NFC technology? A couple of you? Okay. NFC has not caught on as much as it should have, primarily because iPhone didn't include it in their latest device. So we automatically lose 50% of the market that way. And even among Android devices, it's relatively new. So you're going to see this in If you have a new phone within the last year, it's probably NFC capable. Any of the Google phones are NFC capable. But the cool thing about NFC is it adds some additional functionality to what the QR code does. You've probably seen this in contactless payments. So you can tap your phone to make a payment with Google Wallet or ISIS. This is what we call NFC phone to NFC phone. It's basically two devices that can both read and write, so they talk to each other. In a hotel environment or a hospitality environment, most likely you're going to use it phone to NFC tag. So basically it's a static radio tag. I left one in my bag, but they're little stickers with a little radio antenna inside. A lot of people what will do is they'll tape it or they'll stick it to the backside of a poster to create a smart poster. And what it allows you to do is the same things we can do with QR codes, only it also allows additional device functionality. So I can turn on the Wi-Fi, turn off the Wi-Fi, set airplane mode. I can do volume, brightness, add calendar events. A lot more device-specific functions in addition to the QR code functionality. SMS, this is what we all know as texting. Okay, who here is a texter? Pretty much everybody? Okay. So 78% of all people consider themselves active texters. So take this, multiply it by the fact that 80% of the population has a phone, and pretty much everybody, 60 to 70% of people consider themselves an active texter. Okay, texting is not just for teenagers. It can be used for a lot more. You can send URLs in a text. You can connect it with all sorts of different operations inside of your hotel or whatever association you're involved with. And there's a bunch of different text providers, text solution providers that have great APIs. So you don't have to build all of the sell side of this yourself. You can integrate with some really cool solutions. Twilio is one that's really great. You can integrate with their APIs and automate or create text messages for anything that you're doing. This is a really interesting stat one I want you to remember because I have some other evidence that makes this even more true. So 32% of people would prefer to communicate via text. That's 1 in 3 of us. Okay, that's a big number. So let's jump into some case studies on how you can engage and delight your clients or your guests with the mobile technologies. So this is a museum in Australia, and I thought the screen would be bigger, so it's a little hard to see. But basically, they've got a little kiosk or a stand next to their whale exhibit, and it has some static information. And what they've done is they've done a good job of adding NFC and QR codes to enhance the experience. Okay, it's a way to bring digital content to an offline static world. Okay, and the really important word here on this whole slide is exclusive. Okay, if you're not providing exclusive, special, unique content to your mobile device users, if you're just replicating that on a mobile device, it's a waste of your time. Okay, if I can read it on a static piece of paper, I don't need to see it on a mobile phone as well. Okay, and this is actually one of the reasons that QR codes have not taken off as much as they should have in the US. Other countries, they're a lot more popular. In the US, because marketers jumped onto this trend and just started throwing them everywhere to replace URLs, and they didn't optimize for mobile, they didn't add any unique content or any special information, none of us used them. Okay, there's the other side where mobile device providers don't have it integrated into the phone. I have to actually download an app, so they kind of make it a pain for us. But the marketers are really the reason this hasn't taken off more than it already should have. But you'll notice here, great example. Show me the product you're trying to sell. Give me a mobile experience so I can get more information, videos, other content that you can't fit on that limited space you have in a magazine. And this could be used in a guest services directory or many other ways. Okay, these guys are actually here, and if you've noticed, they've got QR codes all around the entire facility to participate in a game. Okay, this makes the whole experience here more engaging, and you can use this inside of a hotel as well. I know a group that does local tours. If you're a vacation destination and you want to go out and see different things, I can go and visit a bunch of different pedestals and get a tiny bit of information, or I can go interact. I can make it a game. I can get exclusive content, prizes. So this is actually one of the things my company provides. It's a little product called Guest Checkout. And this is a tiny little poster that we stick on the door of the room, and it allows the guest to check out via text. Really simple product, but the crazy thing we've seen is that on the properties that are using it, their average checkout rate, the formal checkout, people that actually come to the front desk or they call or they use a TV to check out, it's around 30%. But what we're seeing with this is rates as high as 90%. Average is about 75%. Okay, so that's not a big deal if you're not a really busy property, right? Who cares if they check out? Now here's the reason it matters. When people check out, that's the last chance you get before they leave the property to engage and delight that guest. So when somebody checks out, I send a text back that says, hey, thanks for checking out, you're all checked out. But I also say, I can send a link that says, would you mind rating us on TripAdvisor? Or would you mind signing up for our specials? Or here's a link to get 20% off your next stay. It's that one last chance we have to engage that customer and delight them before they leave the property. The second they step off that property, it's much more difficult to engage them and even more so difficult to delight them. You guys can actually try this one if you want. I'm going to get bombarded with text if you do, but this is another way to use text marketing, or text messaging, excuse me, in the guest experience. Like I said, 1 in 3 customers, 1 in 3 guests wants to communicate with you via text. So by putting this in the room, instead of picking up the phone when I need something, they text me what they need. Okay, they need a towel, they have a problem with the bathroom they don't really want to talk to you about. You avoid confrontation and send you text. We're seeing a ton of use of this. A lot of my customers that use this are actually in the vacation rental space. So we get things like, how do I turn on the hot tub? How does this system work? So still gets a lot of use in the hotel space, but not as much as the vacation rental space. This is a really cool use of kind of a combination of technologies. So this is a group in London, a city wanted to make Christmas a little bit extra special. So what they did is they took the city, combined it with a app development group, and created a campaign to make it snow. So basically what you do is you go to this street and there's a bunch of these posters, you call this phone number, and when you call it, you hear Christmas music. And the cool thing is, when you call it, they've got snow cannons on the roof of the building so it actually starts to snow. Okay, they did text as well, so you could text and make it snow, and then it would call you back with the Christmas music and it would start to make it snow. So there are really creative, cool things you can do with these really simple technologies, but it's all about creative uses and how to use them to implement and improve the guest experience. They haven't kicked me out yet, so I'm going to keep going for a minute. Let's talk about some of the emerging technologies. So like I said, QR codes and NFC haven't been adopted either by the phone manufacturers or by the general public as much as they could be. One technology that's coming out that may finally bridge that gap is what's called low power Bluetooth or Bluetooth 4. This is something that's in a lot of Apple's products. You're seeing it in a lot of the Android products as well. And what it does is it removes the need to actually scan something or tap something. Basically, it's location based, so when I walk into an area, my phone and the Bluetooth know where I am. And it would basically, if I walked into a lobby, it would pop up and say, hey, do you want to check in? And it knows more about me as well. So when I walk into my room, you set the power so I can walk into the room. It knows I'm in the room. It says, okay, do you want to turn your Wi-Fi off? Do you want to turn your alarm on? So all of the same functionality with NFC and QR codes, only in an easier, more customer-friendly format that's also hopefully going to be adopted by the industry. Anybody here know what those are? Google Glass. Good. Yeah. It's good to talk to technology folks. Okay, so Google Glasses are another thing that we're going to see. Who knows if they'll take off? Who knows how much they'll be adopted? But they're a great opportunity to delight and engage your guests. Okay, if somebody walks into your property with wearing one of these, you can provide Easter eggs. What's an Easter egg? Anybody familiar with what an Easter egg is? Okay, so in the tech community, Easter eggs are basically kind of surprises that only a select group of people get to find. So, but when I walk into your hotel and I happen to be wearing these, you can provide a really cool augmented reality experience that's going to get you noticed, it's going to get you press, and it's going to really delight the guests. Now, obviously, these aren't adopted yet. Very few people have them, but if you're doing something cool with them and preparing for that future, you're going to get a lot of excited guests. And then the thing you see around the show today, a ton of tablets, a ton of connectivity on this side of things. One thing that I see that's going to be happening is we're seeing a lot of tablets in the lobbies, a lot of tablets in public areas, but you're going to see this more and more in the room, where the guest services directory is going to be replaced by a tablet. It makes it so you don't have to print. When you need to update menus, you can update them easier. You can sell advertising inside of the rooms, and if they stop paying, you don't have to go throw away a bunch of things you printed. It's, digital, updated, optimized. And these are some of the technologies I think will change and help, help the guest experience of the future. So, key takeaways today: satisfy, engage, delight. And if you're going to use mobile technologies, make them mobile. Don't have me scan a QR code and give me a desktop experience. It needs to be optimized for me. Make it special. I don't want to see the same thing I saw in print in digital. make it different, make it unique. Give me extra information, give me video, give me something I can't get on a static piece of paper, and make it personal if you can. That's it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to come up. We've got business cards up here. You can contact me on Twitter, through the website.
What are some of the most relevant companies to partner with to build the QR codes?
To build the QR codes? So QR codes are really, really simple. There's multiple resources. I think I've got if you search online for QR code generator, you'll find there's one. They've got a pretty good variety. If you want to do automatic QR code generation, Google has an API into their system that will generate the QR codes on the fly. If you're trying to generate them as part of build a lot of PDFs. It depends on what you mean by integrate.
So what if I wanted to have a situation where I wanted to create a keyword of some sort for my property, a couple of QR codes, and then also start to have maybe some sort of database to collect that information as it's coming back to me.
Gotcha.
Or redistribute a mass mailer of some sort to those contacts. Is there an
So,
all-in-one solution?
There's quite a few. So you're talking about sort of a few different pieces. So as far as collecting information from your customers, like getting a newsletter list, you've got Aweber, MailChimp, Constant Contact, a bunch of different options on the marketing side. And the main thing to do there is you want a mobile form, which most of those offer, and then all you need to do is take that URL and convert it into a QR code. So the QR code piece is really easy. It's just a matter of converting that URL into the code itself. Building this side of things can be more complex depending on how customized you want to make it. But creating a mobile form to collect your customer information, pretty easy. Most of the simple newsletter services offer that. MailChimp is one that I've used before. They have a really nice interface. I haven't used their mobile stuff as much, but if you want to start getting custom databases and custom stuff, then you're going to need to find a web developer. But that's pretty, I don't want to say low level, but it's pretty basic programming. So almost any marketing company should be able to do that for you. Anybody else? Questions? Okay, well, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter. Or you can get me in the contact form, and like I said, I've got cards up here if anybody's interested in anything. So, thanks so much.